In this episode, we're doing a comparison. We're looking at A/B testing for ads and comparing that to evergreen content, which you can't split test. Now, most marketers treat evergreen content like ads. They're constantly tweaking it, they're checking for clicks, and they're wondering why the results never stick, why they never develop momentum. The truth is that what works for paid ad campaigns can actually sabotage your long-term growth. In this episode, we'll bust the myths, we're going to reveal the true purpose of evergreen content, and we'll tackle the big question, how do I know what to split test, and what content should I leave alone? Let's dive right in. Let's do some rapid fire myth busting. We've got 4 myths. Myth number 1, you should constantly tweak titles and thumbnails on YouTube like you do with ads. You've probably heard of some of the biggest creators doing that, like Mr. Beast. He does that. Now, it takes a lot of work. In fact, it takes a team to do that. And should you be doing that? The answer is no. Now, why not? Don't we want to be like Mr. Beast? Well, if your goal is the same as his goal, then follow what he does, right? If your goal is to become a YouTuber, if your goal is ad revenue from YouTube, if your full-time career is YouTube, then yes, you do want to take those steps. But if you already have a business, and if your goal is to leverage YouTube as a lead generator for your business, then you don't want to do those things. Those things will actually hurt your chances of lead generation. So I see this all the time when I review business owners' YouTube channels. They really spend a lot of time tweaking this or tweaking that and changing their titles or uploading different thumbnails, when in reality, what's way more important is to focus on the positioning before you even film the video. When you have the right strategy ahead of time, you'll already know who the audience is, and you'll already know what the right title will be to attract that audience. Myth number 2, success in evergreen content comes from regular promotion or SEO. Well, on the side of that regular promotion idea, I'll call it nonsense. If it's evergreen, it doesn't need to be promoted. So people look at evergreen in a lot of different ways. So evergreen means that it's going to last a long time. Like you can have a deciduous tree that loses its leaves in the winter, but an evergreen, it stays green year round. So you can have a piece of content that lasts long term. It's going to continually work for you. It's going to continually be a lead generator. But a lot of people will talk about an evergreen webinar where they have a webinar, but then they just record it. But then over time, they just send ads to that same webinar, and so they don't have to keep doing the webinar. So I understand that that is one way that some people use that term, but I would not consider that to be evergreen content. So let me help you with my definition of evergreen content. Imagine if you could create a video that would market itself, and would market itself a month from now, and a year from now, and 5 years from now. So you're creating a marketing machine that truly does last and continue to work for you without you having to worry about sending more and more traffic to it. Myth number 3, high click-through rate is the main goal for organic videos. Click-through rate is a good stat. And when you're in YouTube analytics and you're looking at your different sources of traffic, if you're looking at organic, which would be YouTube search, and compare it to suggested or to browse or to external traffic, guess which one has the highest click-through rate? And I guess there's a caveat to that. If you're creating the right type of search-friendly content, the highest click-through rate will actually be YouTube search. And it's not just by a small margin, it's often double or even triple. The strategy, the main goal should be lead generation, because when you have content that you can create for a predictable audience, if that audience is then finding your video in search, that is so valuable. And so the next step is, how do I turn that view into a lead? Now, the amazing thing is you don't have to promote anything in your video. They're not going to feel like they're being sold to. Myth number 4, the same creative strategies apply to both paid and organic marketing. Okay, so they're completely separate actually. So when you've got a promo video, you're going to put a lot of effort and energy into a really short video. I mean, you could work for months on the perfect promo video. But when you're talking about relationship building content, that content that's going to be the first thing that people see, that's what this video is that I'm filming now. And I'm actually filming 20 episodes today. So I took some time to outline the talking points for this video, and I can be very efficient about it, and I can film 20 episodes in a single day. So now let's talk about the benefits of A/B testing or split testing your ads. I'm not an ads expert, but I love hiring people every now and then to do that for the purpose of split testing and really fine-tuning things. So I want to fine-tune a couple of things. I want to fine-tune my messaging. I want to fine-tune the landing page and the offers. I want to make sure that when I create a funnel, that it's working well. And then I can figure out where are the bottlenecks, where are the parts that are broken, how can I fix it, what can I tweak and change. And paid ads can really allow me to do that a lot quicker. It's not very effective to learn or to test and tweak a funnel when you're sending organic traffic only to that funnel. So the biggest work that I do with my clients is creating this evergreen content. You know, we do the filming and the production for that. That's going to lead to this lead generation. And so it's really critical to have a good funnel in place. Another way that we can look at the difference between ads into your funnel and organic content into your funnel. With organic content, you're taking 2 steps. So the goal of the organic content is to build a relationship. But the goal of an ad, if you were to only build a relationship, you'd spend a lot of money. And because you're pushing it in front of a lot of people, these are a lot of people who aren't interested, and those that are a better fit, the timing isn't right. And so it just will not work to use advertising dollars to focus on building a relationship. You have to focus on the conversion. So people know that they're being sold to, and you have to interrupt them, and you're therefore generating low quality leads. But because you can take the time with your organic evergreen marketing to build that relationship, when they do enter your funnel that way, you're generating a much higher quality lead. Now on the paid side of things, when you're doing a lot of split testing of the ads, that can be pretty cumbersome, or it can be pretty overwhelming because there's a lot of unknowns and you're spending money trying to figure out which ads will even work. So when my clients have come to me and they've had a lot of advertising experience, they have a big feeling of relief when they get to experience this evergreen content creation, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to split test your evergreen content. We already know going into it what type of content is going to work. The thing that matters most with your evergreen content is matching search intent. Your content's going to have a built-in audience. Another way to look at it is evergreen is about positioning. And if you do it right, you can actually dominate your entire niche. So I often use a tree analogy, right? So take your topic, your core area of expertise, that's going to be your trunk, or maybe the trunk could be your industry, right? And there's a lot of different branches on this tree, and at the end of these branches are leaves. Now the leaves represent questions that your target audience is asking. So on this tree, representing your entire industry, there are going to be tens of thousands of leaves, tens of thousands of different ideas that you could talk about on your YouTube channel. But if you're really strategic and you hone in on the right branch, the branch where your target audience exists, you can dominate that entire branch. So you don't have to spin your wheels on the entire tree, but you can hone in and dominate the space that's going to be the most profitable for you and your business. Should I be testing thumbnails and titles regularly on my YouTube videos? Your titles, definitely not. Because you know the perfect title that's going to get your results, you don't want to change your title. And your thumbnails, you don't have to stress about. YouTube will tell you if a thumbnail is underperforming, and so then you can go in at that point and you can try a new one. Now thumbnails, you don't need to stress about. Do your best guess, create a thumbnail that you think will create curiosity, and launch your video with that thumbnail. Now over time, as you get some data, you can see which thumbnails are overperforming and which are underperforming your average. So those that are underperforming, guess what you can do? You can upload another thumbnail and try that one. Now YouTube does have a new feature that's pretty cool, where you can upload 2 different thumbnails at the same time, and YouTube will do the A/B testing for you. The thought of creating multiple thumbnails can be overwhelming, so if that feels overwhelming to you, I think you're going to have great success with just 1 thumbnail at a time and then checking later to see if there's any that are underperforming. How do I know when to change something and when to leave it alone? Well, if you followed the steps of my leaf strategy and you've picked these right titles for your videos, you know that you can launch those and leave them alone for years. But if you're talking about your landing page or your promo videos, those are things that you do want to test. You really want to optimize that funnel to make sure that every step along the way, things are converting like you hope. So now that you know the difference between testing your ads and evergreen content, the next step is knowing how to actually dominate search results. So dominating YouTube search, dominating Google search, and dominating ChatGPT. Now what's really exciting is the key to dominating in all these 3 places actually starts with YouTube. So that's what the leaf strategy is that I've mentioned. The leaf strategy helps you dominate YouTube and then also dominate Google and ChatGPT. So I'm going to link to that episode right here. It's called The Leaf Strategy, How to Rank #1 on YouTube. I highly recommend you watch that video next.